I love the Mothman. Hi, I'm Hannah. Thank you so much for coming to my channel where I talk all things costuming, cosplay, and events. Today we are talking about the Mothman Festival 2025. This festival takes place in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and the Mothman is a cryptid that was spotted in the area in the early 1960s for about a year before the Silver Bridge collapsed on the Ohio River. Point Pleasant is right across the river from Ohio, and this was a very popular bridge that, when it collapsed, caused a lot of death, injury, etc. It's one of the worst bridge collapse events in American history. So it's a very sad thing, but out of this Mothman is what was seen, and people say it was an omen of sorts. It was seen for about a year until that bridge collapsed, and then to popular belief, it hasn't really been seen in the area since that. I am a huge fan of cryptids. I always have been. This is actually my second time going to this festival. My husband and I went in 2019. So that was pre-pandemic. It was also part of a camping trip, but we loved it and we've been thinking about going back ever since. And this was kind of a last minute decision. We ended up both having today off of work and we were like, let's go. Right? So we just drove there and back in one day, and it honestly is not terrible of a drive from the Columbus area. I had a costume that I had been planning for a couple years at this point. Ever since I started my Hannah Dreaming accounts, I had had this little sketch in my mind of this costume I wanted to wear. And this costume had wings that I was planning to make myself like custom. Since I decided last minute, like earlier this week, and I was really busy with work, I didn't have time to make any. So I ended up buying this little set off of Amazon for I think $30. I'll link it on my Amazon storefront and in the description below. If you are interested, they do have little pulleys on them so I can like flap the wings. So I had a lot of fun wearing them today. My husband is a big gamer and is a huge fan of Fallout 76, which has a big tie-in with the Mothman in Point Pleasant. I'm not sure on the exact details. I just know that Fallout 76 and Mothman kind of go hand in hand. A lot of people know of the Mothman from this game if they're not from this area of the country originally. So he wanted to be a vault dweller. So we ended up grabbing a couple things on Amazon, visiting an antique store or two, and also using his Pip-Boy prop that he actually built a couple years ago. So that his outfit is also kind of a combination of things that we've been working on over the last few years. The actual festival spans a couple of city blocks. There's a lot of artists and small vendors, authors, leaders in the paranormal field, etc. This town also has the world's only Mothman Museum. We went last time we visited, and today when we went, there was a massive line. And since we had both been there before, we felt like we could skip it. People come from all over the world to attend this festival. Walking in from where we parked, we actually saw quite a few cars with license plates from all over America, which is really fun to see, right? This thing that practically took place in our backyard brings people from all over the world. It's crazy. It is clear that the whole town really comes together to put this festival on. The businesses on the streets of the festival theme and decorate for the event. A lot of the parking options that are collecting fees nearby specifically say they are raising funds to donate to a charity, which I thought was amazing. We didn't end up parking in one of those lots that was charging a fee. We ended up parking just like on the side of the road, less than a half a mile away from the festival, and we were totally fine doing that short walk in. And then even though our walk was short, we were stopped twice by two different shuttle buses. They just pulled over and like, hey, do you need a ride? And we're like, no, we're good. Thank you, though. We're so good. So that is something to note. If you end up having to park farther away, they do run shuttles kind of throughout the day to help people get from where they're parked far away to the actual festival. And we actually got up really early to come to the festival. We had wanted to get there closer to 9 when this festival actually starts at 10. Knowing from a few years back when we went, it does get pretty crazy and parking does get pretty insane as well. So we ended up getting there around 9:20. There was plenty of spaces to park. Crowd level was really low. It didn't really start picking up until we hit about 10:30, 10:45. A lot of businesses on the festival route say no public restrooms, but there are porta potties available. And honestly, they were pretty clean for as far as porta potties go. Another thing to note is most stores do have cold bottled water. They were selling for $1 each, especially on a day like today where it was upper 80s, if not 90. It was pretty hot, and we were trying to really hard to make sure we stayed hydrated. The festival itself is free to attend. You should plan to bring cash with you for any purchases you might make while you're there. The internet and cell reception in the area is not great, so vendors may struggle with internet access and processing payments, so cash is just a generally good option for the day. My biggest tip if you plan to attend this event in the future is to plan to get there early. And I would recommend arriving before the event actually starts. Even though the vendors might not be selling or anything yet, that's fine. Don't pressure them if they're not ready. You can still, there's a coffee shop you can go into. You can take pictures with the Mothman statue. We only had to wait maybe 2 minutes in line to get our pictures with the Mothman statue, whereas later on in the day, that line gets very, very long. We also saw a really long line for the Mothman Museum, even though it was not open yet. So there was already kind of a line around the block to get into that museum, which is kind of the reason why we were like, no, that's okay. Like we're okay. But having gone in the past to the museum, I would definitely say that it is worth it. It's got really cool, like original handwritten first-hand accounts of what people saw, their descriptions of the Mothman, as well as like newspaper clippings from the area from the time, and going as far as movie props. There is also, I should have said this earlier, but there's also the Mothman Prophecies book, and that was also turned into a movie in the early 2000s. So if you're like, I want to know a little bit more about this, but I want the dramatized version, go watch Mothman Prophecies. It's a pretty good movie. Anyway, the Mothman Museum, it's only about $5 per adult to enter. I think kids under a certain age, it's even less. And I will also say, if you stop into this area when it is not Mothman Festival, you'll be able to get in there pretty quickly and easily without the huge crowd. The first time my husband went to the museum was not during the festival at all. He was on a road trip and drove through it, and he got like firsthand experience in there where there was not a ton of people there. So just keep that in mind. Maybe if you can't make it to the festival, but you can come another time, I would still recommend it. It's still really cool. We walked around the vendors and the booths and everything for a little while, and we even found some friends from the 501st Legion, our Star Wars costuming club, and said hi. So that was really nice to see some people we haven't seen in a while. There's also this beautiful waterfront park that has additional vendors, beautiful views of the river, and a little stage area for concerts. And I think they still do this. They have a Miss Mothman Festival pageant. So I don't know, that's really cute. It's really got that county fair, hometown type feel to it. They also have a 5K, and it's generally all around a really family friendly event. The theater in town even hosts some guest speakers for this event. Another part of the Mothman lore is that there were TNT factory, mine, storage, etc. I'm sure I'm messing up the terminology, but from World War II, and then when the war ended, everything, they just kind of left all the structures and stuff there. So some people think that maybe Mothman is some sort of mutation of an animal or something from toxins that were in part of that TNT area, and a lot of the sightings of Mothman were out by that TNT area. So there is a lot of tie-in that area for the festival as well. On the Saturday night of the festival, they do hay rides to the TNT area. That's something I honestly kind of have always wanted to do. We have never actually been there on a Saturday night, though, to do that. So maybe we'll keep that in mind for a future trip. But they also offer guided like bus tours to the TNT areas. Like they put you on a coach bus, it's air conditioned, you have a tour guide, and they cart you around to the different areas. The areas are also a part of a park. It's like public land, so you can go yourself. You don't need to be a part of a tour to go do it. So we ended up doing that after we were done walking around the festival. We drove out to the TNT area and looked at one of the TNT igloos, they call it. Something to note though, if you are going, even by yourself. On festival weekend, you're probably going to be there with a ton of other people. So we specifically were there basically at the same time as another large group of this ticketed bus tour. I want to say it was like maybe 30 people, and it got a little crowded. But we just kind of hung back and waited for the group to leave. And then we had some time just to ourselves for pictures and video and stuff like that. We are personally very familiar with the lore, so we didn't feel like we needed that guided tour. I'm sure it is lovely. I'm sure the tour guides are wonderful. That was just something that we kind of were like, let's just go check it out ourselves. So just know that that's an option to you. If you have a car, you can drive out there yourself and take a look around. I will say that it can be kind of dangerous. One of those TNT area igloos apparently blew up in 2010, so enter at your own risk, right? There's generally a large cosplay contingency at this event, but for whatever reason, I'm not sure if it was the heat, it was a Sunday morning crowd, I don't know, but we didn't see a lot of people dressed up in costume compared to the last time we attended in 2019. And we also only stayed a few hours, and it was Sunday morning, so it's possible that there were more cosplayers on Saturday, and it's also possible that there were more cosplayers later on Sunday. So if you want to be extra, like myself and my husband, feel free to dress up. You will not be alone. They also do host 2 cosplay groups, the 501st Legion, like I mentioned earlier, our Star Wars costuming club, as well as the Ghostbusters costuming club. One of the reasons I really like this event is because it has this almost Ren Fair type vibe to it, and not like partying, drinking alcohol type fun. I'm talking about fun of acceptance and being who you are and expressing yourself, right? It's a really fun and welcoming event, and it's just family oriented, and it just feels safe. It just feels like a great place. But anyway, we were there for a couple hours. We had a great time at this year's festival, and we do plan to come back at some point in the future, maybe not next year, maybe a couple years down the road. Fall is always a very busy time for us, so we don't always have a lot of time to do things, but this is a free event, and we'd wanted to go for several years since the last time in 2019, so I'm glad we had the chance to go. And if you're looking for something fun to do that has some sightseeing opportunities and is free, I highly recommend you check it out. It's always the 3rd weekend of September, so mark your calendars, and I hope to see you there in the future. That brings me to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share with a friend, all of that good stuff. I promise it really actually does help this video, and I will love you forever. So thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.